Good morning, everyone. Jacob is here once again. Thank you for coming to the show, and I'm sorry that I was a little late this morning. Had some technical difficulties, but that's okay. What else is new? How's everybody doing today? Check out the thumbnail and tell me if you can hear me okay in the chat. I have so much to get into. It's absolutely astounding, and it's going to be exciting, and you're going to feel like you're watching a movie. That's right. It's a great time to be alive. Who's excited? Can you all hear me okay? Is that all right? Is the sound going good? Because it's a good morning. Gonna have a little tea. Make sure my voice is doing good. And I do appreciate everybody getting here early, and I'm sorry that I've been a little bit late. Thank you, Joe and Stardust, for telling me that it sounds good. Patrick, I appreciate it. Patrick went overboard. Patrick said, it sounds great. I like that. So we got a lot of things to jump into. So you know what? Since people say that I talk too much, I'm gonna try to jump right into it so that we can really talk about these weird things. A lot of weird things happening over the skies. Who saw this a couple of days ago? This thing was weird. I saw it. I wanted to talk about it, but I had other things going on and I couldn't. We had these mysterious lights that were going down in San Diego. Not so normal. It was very strange to watch. The footage was very interesting. If you look to the top right-hand corner, you could see them. They were like these red lights. They would flicker on and off. Patterns of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. A lot of people were saying, everybody keeps talking about Stranger Things and CERN and aliens. That's, I find, very interesting because there's so much weird stuff going on up there above our heads. It's above our heads. Some people would say it's above our pay grade. Who knows? You know what? They even said that there was a sighting over there in Israel. That's right, Jerusalem Post. This is from their Twitter. Several mysterious lights. And I think that picture that they depicted, I think that's a little disingenuous because really, when I went and I did a little research, it looked a lot like the Starlink satellites that have been flying past us. But some people say that could be a cover too. Maybe it's not satellites. Maybe it's something else, right? Who knows? As if everybody tells us the truth all the time. We're not the type of people that were to be trusted with the news, they think, because it'll cause a great panic. But we got these weird things happening, these weird sightings over the sky, and look at this mysterious pillar that took place just last week. This was over Mexico. Now, we've seen these before. I've covered these before. They say that they're ice pillars, right, of something. I find it to be quite suspect. I don't exactly know what it is, but it's weird. It's definitely weird. Now, I want to let you know, if you're new to the channel, by the way, I got a great produced show coming to you very soon. Those take a little bit longer. The reason why I do the live streams now is because there's just so much stuff coming at us, and this is a great way for me to come and talk to you quickly without you having to wait for something, because it takes a couple of days to edit these shows. A lot of work goes into all this stuff. I got up very early this morning so that I could give you this show very early. I'm very tired. I'm still going to go to the gym though. That's all right. So you got this mysterious pillar of light, but that's not the only weird, red thing that's in the skies. Look at this. Not a lot of people talking about this mysterious glow over the Australian town. Very strange, these mysterious glow. Oh, over a ganja facility. That's their explanation. That's right. Don't worry. They're not opening portals. They're not opening rifts to another dimension. So they tell us. This is a secret Australian marijuana facility, by the way. Secret. It's all secret. We don't want you to know what's going on over there, right? Maybe it's not a grow facility. Just saying, it's a possibility. We got these colliders all over the world. A lot of them, a lot of colliders. CERN is the biggest. Got a big one over here, Rick, right in my neck of the woods. But this is weird. We're getting a lot of these red skies popping up everywhere. Holly Reeves says God is turning evil upside down. Thanks for sharing a fresh perspective on the clown world. It is kind of like a clown world lately, isn't it? It's a little, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, Holly. I've been trying to, I'm trying to come in and check the live chat a little bit more as we go. I'm learning. It's all a learning curve, right? I want to make sure that these shows are tight for you. So we got like 700 people watching. You know the deal. Please X out of chat for a second because the best part of the show is always at the end. I always save the best for last. Somebody actually put a tweet out and said that Jacob Israel, he does these like clickbaity thumbnails, right? And I've said this for years. I'm like, don't judge the fisherman by the bait. People are going to see what they're going to want to see. When you look at my thumbnail over here, this is pretty accurate to what I'm talking about. I mean, like I don't want to be disingenuous. I want to always share what I know to be the truth. But, I do it kind of in a goofy way so that people will see it and they'll be kind of triggered to be like, what's that about? And our minds always go to the lowest common denominator. We always think the worst first. So I'm using it. It's almost like chumming the waters to get people to come, to get people to listen. And then if they do listen and if they do come, what they find out is we've got no reason to be scared. We got every reason to rejoice. And we got every reason to work hard to make this world a better place because the power of life and death is in our tongue. And we are more than conquerors. We are more than conquerors. Believe me when I say that. So when we see all these weird things that are popping up all over the place, all these weird signs in the sky, don't get stressed out because it could just be a ganja farm. That's what it is, right? What are you worried about? Just a mysterious secret ganja farm. That's all it is. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Now, I got to tell you something. I wanted to do this show sooner, but I couldn't. And I'm glad I didn't because I got some news this morning that I would have been really bummed because it ties everything together if I missed it. But I saw that Adam, he put this out. The mysterious red glow over the Atlantic. I saw this yesterday morning when I was searching for, just kind of searching for breadcrumbs. Where do I go next? I saw he had that on his thumbnail. Now, I went to bed early last night. I didn't get a chance to see it. I'm going to check out his show later. But a lot of people saying it's like Stranger Things. Everybody's talking about Stranger Things. I actually, the video that went viral, I haven't had a viral video in a long time. It's the reason why we have so many new people to the channel, and I'm so happy you're here. And I get so many wonderful comments like, where have you been? I can't believe I've never seen you. Oh, I'm hooked. I'm seeing your videos one after the other after the other. I love it. Binge all day long, if you will. It's good for your spiritual growth and health. And it'll keep you from being crazy and worried about so much stuff. It'll empower you. But this mysterious glow, once again, weird red glow. No one knows what's happening. No one knows what it is. It's very strange. Very strange. They actually put an explanation out over the green skies. Remember I talked about the green skies popping up everywhere? Remember the red, scary red sky that was in China? Something's happening, right? We don't know what it is, but this isn't normal. It hasn't been normal. I don't know if you've paid attention for a while. For like years, it hasn't been normal. Almost from when that first eclipse hit, the Great American Eclipse, and we're in this almost exactly 7 years. I think it's like 6.6 years or something between these two eclipses. We're in this period right now of great transition, great reset, if you will. And there's a lot that people are, starting to dig into that we were once called, tinfoil hat wearing weirdos for talking about things like Nibiru. If you don't know anything about Nibiru, I got a playlist. This video will be in the playlist. You can go watch, kind of get catched up because it's a lot to talk about. But the idea is there is a planetary system that is in a huge elliptical orbit. It swings way out past the Oort cloud. It's trans-Neptunian, and then it comes on in. Problem is, when it comes on in, It's very massive. It bounces a lot of stuff around. A lot of those, icy bodies and, rocky bodies that are out there in the Oort cloud. And it kind of pushes them towards us, if you will. Most of that stuff gets eaten up, swallowed up by other planets like Jupiter because it's so massive. But some swing by. And if you look at some of the, they'll show you images of, how many near-Earth asteroids there were, say, like 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Then you look at it now, and it's like clutter in the skies. You got so many satellites, too. And they're worried about things. They're worried about a lot of things. Seems like they're worried about, extraterrestrials, as the Pentagon just opened up a new UFO office. It's called AARO. AARO. AARO, which is short for Aaron. Aaron held up Moses' arms, Moses' younger brother. He also made the golden calf for Israel when they're like, make us a god. And, and he made them a golden calf, took all their jewelry and all their wealth and all their greed. And people worship, they worship finance. They worship what they think is going to, it's like if you got enough money in the bank, oh, I'm okay. If I make a little more money, I'll be okay, right? No. If you connect to the creator that created you, your father, for lack of a better word, the architect of it all, then you're going to be okay. You're not going to be okay with money because in a second, that whole system can collapse. Some say it will collapse. I'm trying not to slurp because I get so many people giving me comments like, I can't with you. Don't drink your tea. I got to drink my tea because my throat starts to hurt a little bit. But yeah, so they opened up this branch. And a lot of people are interested in it. Like, why now, right? They've released so much information, a lot of information that, it seems like you should be scared. And yet, T. D'Amico says no fear. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. And no fear is right. And Americans matter. It's telling me to keep it up with a super chat. Thank you very much. I'm trying to keep up on everybody who does this because I know that it's a bummer if you guys are going to support me and I forget. And how could I ever forget Magical One? I love you too, my friend. Much love to you and blessings to your family. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. You don't have to send me money, right? Okay, you don't got to do that. I appreciate it when you do. But just hitting that like button is really, and sharing the channel around, and being encouraged in your life, that's the best thing that you can do for me. Best thing in the world that you can do for me is live a fulfilled life. Because that's why I'm here. I really want to. That's why I started this, back in 2008. It wasn't until just a while ago where I had that kooky dream. Maybe I'll pull that dream up for you and I'll show you where I didn't want to talk about it. Because back in about, 2015 or so, 16 or so, I started telling everybody because I had a kooky dream about how the world was going to be like bonkers and it was going to be terrible. The world was going to end the way we knew it in like 5 years' time. It was going to be awful. And man, was that on the money, huh? And so I got everybody kind of abandoned, like all my friends and my peers. I was just going around, I was speaking. I just had a big event in Atlanta. I was so excited. It was the first time I ever spoke at a church, and I didn't have anything prepared. I tried for a long time to prepare, but when I got there, everything just came out, and I knew exactly what to say. I'm hoping that maybe we can do some kind of a speaking event in the future. Maybe I can get together with other guys, and we can do some kind of a thing, because I really want to meet a lot of you in person. It would be awesome. It would be awesome. But back then, they thought that I was nutty for saying that things were going to happen. So that when I started getting the vibe that I needed to talk about this thing called Nibiru, this Planet X, which I wasn't even into it at all. Aliens wasn't exactly a thing that I was really down on. I wasn't really into that. I was like, no, Lord, I'm not going to do it. And I had one coincidence after another coincidence after another until I had a terrible nightmare. And then I finally did it. And then finally talking about that, the next video I did on that very subject went viral. And that's the reason you're all here today. So in the back of my head, I've always believed there's something to it. I told people on the channel back before they said Planet X, Planet 9, Nibiru, Argopolis, there goes by a lot of names. Before people said that was real, I said they'll say it's real, and they started to. And they've been searching for it. So we're living in some great times. we're living in some great times. So them, looking at the old UFOs and all that stuff, a lot of it could be kind of what they call like a psychological operation. Some people think that maybe they're going to be doing this thing called Project Blue Beam, where they're going to, show you stuff in the sky and it's going to freak you out. And I'll tell you something, they've already done it. And people like in Saudi Arabia, I guess they showed some planets, and it really looked like planets were in the sky. It was very strange. So I mean, all bets are off to what is real. Can we really trust our eyes? Can we really trust what people are saying anymore? That's why I always say, fear not. Just go to God and don't just listen to the first thing that comes across the table. Don't think that, because many times if you just dig a little bit deeper, could be what we call like a honeypot, something that they're putting out that they hope you grab onto, and then you then spread it around. Then they can say, we're going to silence you now because you're spreading fake news. Fake news, right? Fake news. Everything's fake news today. Well, it's kind of hard to fake sightings of meteors, and there've been a lot of them. Let's take a look at some of these over here. So we got this one right over here.
Light streaking across the night sky over Indiana.
Look at that.
All the chatter on social media.
That's in Indiana.
One of the biggest questions is,
that was July 24th.
And WRTV's Caitlin Kendall has been working to find
that's
out.
Something. Look at that. It's a big
Is it
sucker.
a bird? It lit up the sky for a second.
Wow. Could you imagine being outside seeing that? And then, of course, you probably heard about stuff that's happening over Texas. There's another one. That's from yesterday. That's another big sucker, right? Let's look at that again. Come on. Woo. Yeah. Things are getting exciting. I do get a little concerned because the dream that I had was like a bunch of meteors hitting all around me, like as if there was some gigantic asteroid or something that was just made of like a bunch of little rocks or whatever, and for whatever reason it just blew up and it was just pelted the earth like a shotgun. You shoot a shotgun and all the pellets, they disperse. That's what the dream was like. I'm going to see if I can play it for you at the end. It's towards the beginning of my videos. It's kind of hard to see because I didn't really title it a dream. I titled it something like Asteroids, Nibiru, and something like that. But they're concerned. They're really concerned because there's a lot of these fireballs happening. They're also concerned that they just spent like $10 billion on the James Webb telescope, and they think it's going to get trashed. They think that it's because it's in the it's going to go through the debris trail of Halley's Comet. So they're trying to move it around and everything else. I don't know about you, but that James Webb telescope, the picture that they showcased, it really didn't look that great. It wasn't like there was anything so super fantastic about it. Actually kind of looked like the background of one of those elementary school backgrounds that you get, right? I saw a couple of memes going around where they had that picture and it looked like somebody's table in the kitchen, So who knows? Who knows? But I do know that they're concerned about Halley's Comet, this James Webb telescope. Who knows, right? I'll tell you one thing. If there are, we'll say beings that are out there, they probably don't want people like astronomers and those that are keeping an eye on these things to really tell the whole world about what's going on. And perhaps that's why you had so many telescopes going down. You had so many things shut down. I don't know if you remember just a couple of years ago, the thing was shut down. They had Black Hawk helicopters and everything else. And you had the Arecibo, I think was just like destroyed. All of these things are very suspect. You got Starlink going up. That's what they said was all over Israel was the Starlink. Why? Why is that happening? Is there something coming? Or is it because maybe there is some kind of a body out there, possibly Bennu, which is on the thumbnail that you saw, which is last year they said is on a course to hit us. And they actually sent, it's called the OSIRIS-REx mission. They sent this out a while ago. Many shows on that. If you go to the playlist, you'll be able to watch them to kind of grab samples of it. And what ended up happening when they got there was they realized that this thing wasn't as compact as they thought. It was like a bunch of little rocks. They compared it to, oh God, this is so weird. They compared it to a ball pit. You know those ball pits that you jump into? So when they went to take a sample, which they got the sample, first of all, they had a big problem because there's a big debris field around it. If you take a look at that picture right there, that's, now could you imagine if this thing is heading towards us? And then could you imagine if we try to redirect it with the asteroid redirect? Could you imagine what could go wrong? My goodness. My goodness gracious. OSIRIS-REx would have sunk deep into the asteroid. It would have gotten stuck because it's like a ball pit. These studies in Science and Science Advance, they helped identify that NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission would have sunk into the asteroid Bennu had the spacecraft not fired its thrusters immediately after collecting the samples. It's not great. Now, this happened last year. This is concerning. I'm sure concerning to a lot of them, which is why they went out there to begin with. Bennu, I don't know if you know anything about an Osiris. You probably know. You know, that would be the, I don't know, what they would say, like the fake Jesus. Many people worshipped Osiris. He had a very similar story, supposedly. Bennu would be like it was a great bird. Let me pull this up so that you can, I can actually describe it a little better for you. Known as the Phoenix. These are the facts about Bennu. Okay, Bennu's known for like destruction and then rebirth, resetting. Bennu's known for the reset, the Great Reset, which is quite interesting. If you know anything about Bennu, this asteroid, you know that it has the potential of coming down in a fiery glory, and then the new day would have to rise from the ashes. Now, I'm not saying this to freak people out. Freaks me out a little bit. They say that this thing might not happen until like 2,300 or something. So you'd probably be long gone, and according to Elon Musk, the population will already be dwindled down to like nothing because everybody can't have kids anymore, I guess. It's weird. But it's the Egyptian word for phoenix. And you know that phoenix is everywhere, right? And look what it derives from the word weapon, to rise brilliantly or to shine. The Bennu bird is described as resembling an eagle, but many times it's called more like a crane or like a stork, right? The sacred Bennu bird is often represented in ancient Egyptian art as a heron, characterized by two long feathers streaming behind the head. The phoenix was the most potent symbol, symbolizing resurrection and the rising sun. It destroys itself in flames. The Bennu bird destroys itself in flames and then rises again from the ashes. How about that? Who remembers the 2012 Olympics? So many predictive programming things have been happening. So many have come out and been very clear that there's something coming. This phoenix rising from the ashes, it's nothing new. It's nothing new at all. And it's everywhere. They have them in concerts. Travis Scott just had one. And pretty amazing, pretty remarkable that we don't ever really question why. I think it's strange. And then you have this thing that many say is on a collision course, and you name it Bennu, and it's known to be this flying heavenly body that smashes into something in a blaze of fire and then rises from the ashes. Miss Diaz, thank you very much for the super chat. That was so nice. I don't want to try to pronounce your name wrong. I'm going to say Anacia. Hope that's your name. And Cut Up Chatter, thank you. Thank you. You really need help with what is next step after publishing your poems? Hey, email me. Email me. I self-published, so, I mean, anybody can. You got to put it out there. You know, honestly, if you have a heart to share something, whether it's poetry or videos, or just put it out. Social media is free. I have my blog, my website started off as WordPress, and it was free. You know, I didn't have any money for any of this stuff. So I just put stuff out. Started YouTube videos 2008, just put it out. It took years to get people. I didn't have more than 500 subscribers until like 2015, 16, probably around 2016. You put it out there. God will bring the people that need to see it, and it'll happen. You know, it'll happen. But, you know, it takes patience, it takes time, and it takes faith. I mean, look at Abraham. Look at Isaac. Look at Jacob. All of these people. David. David was crowned to be king at 18. He knew he was supposed to be king. He didn't rule until he was much later, and he was like on the run, and everybody wanted to kill him. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Well, here's Travis Scott riding the Phoenix. That was early on at his last concert, which they said was opening the gates of hell. Some say it's already been opened. You know, he had a Phoenix there as well. Gates of hell, by the way. We have power over the gates of hell. The gates of hell shall not prevail against. Jesus said this to Peter. He says, upon this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. What are gates? Gates they're like doors, okay? So gates, if you have a gate around a property, the gate is something that keeps people in, and it's something that keeps people out. If you can prevail against the gate, that means you have power over the gate. Just imagine a little latch. So imagine there's hell, there's a gate to hell, and you can open that latch, let yourself into hell, slam shut behind you, and then when you come to your senses, you can open that latch, let yourself out of hell, right? The only way out of hell is Christ, right? And hell is not what you think. I have a video on that. Look it up if you want to know the truth, because you've been lied to. You've been lied to. People are in hell now. That's the grave, Sheol, the deep. It's the depths of the earth. It's the dead, where the dead are, the place of the dead. Suffering, gnashing of teeth. Oh, it's a terrible, terrible thing to be in hell. But Jesus came to hell to deliver those that were set free. People forget this. In Noah's day, he came to their prison and he set them free. Christ comes to us to set us free, right within our heart. Right within our heart. And then we realize, hey, I can make up with that person. Hey, I don't need to be scared. Hey, I can go to another job and my life isn't going to be over. Hey, right? You can let yourself out. You have power in Christ. You have power in Christ. We may have power enough to have faith that an asteroid won't crack into us, but, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So this was from a little while ago. It now was upgraded. For a while they said, no. And then it was upgraded in 2021. Huge asteroid has a higher chance of hitting Earth than we thought. And that's Bennu. Spooky. This is spooky stuff. This was in August. Okay? Hundreds of millions of years. A top-shaped rubble pile called Bennu has orbited the sun in a relative isolation. The asteroid, about a third mile in its... Okay, so like, just so you know, this is not like a planet ender. It's not like the one that supposedly, we don't even know. We don't even know if it's true. Supposedly ended the whole dinosaur, right, thing. Who knows? Who knows? We could be in a simulation for all we know. Who knows? That's okay. Either way, there is a creator. And, no matter what you believe, we exist. So we're going to continue to exist, hopefully in a better state of mind. Well, now in a new study, they published in the scientific journal, Icarus, who flew too close to the sun and ended up dying, trying to be like God's not a good thing. Scientists, they think that the calculations for the orbit is going to be very close in the future. And they say any time between like now and 2300. Weird, right? Weird. Is anybody concerned in the chat about Bennu? Has anybody worried about this at all? Hey, can you all do me a favor and really, there's like double the amount of people haven't. Like if you like the channel and you like what I'm doing, can you do it? Can you do it? for me? Would you mind just hitting that like? It helps people to come on here, and it helps people to see. And when you see the end of this show, you'll understand why it would be so important for people to jump on board, especially if you're worried about something like this coming our way. So like a lot of people, they aren't worried. Good. Thank you. This makes me happy because you shouldn't be. Adam says, Bennu who? Nobody's worried. I love it. I love seeing that. Because, I mean, what do we got to worry about? Right? Fear not. Fear not. How many times is that written in Scripture? Many, many times. Hope you're all having a good morning, if it's a morning. So now, here's what's a new finding. Because, you know, many times they say these near-Earth asteroids, they go by the sun, or these comets. And they worry about the comets because when they get to the sun, the comets, they break apart. Not a great thing because of the heat. Well, we thought that asteroids took maybe millions of years for the sun to wear them down. Could you imagine you're passing through the sun every time? Heating up, cooling down, heating up, cooling down. That does something to your orbit, and it does something to your makeup. So this is scary because this just came out. Rocky Horror. They think that there are a lot of asteroids that are hidden in the sun's glare that we just haven't seen. And of course, the title in the sun is Could Be Headed for Earth. Astronomers warn. People have been warning this forever. And they probably will in the future. Things will fly into our... Luckily, we have this great covering that burns stuff up. But still, they're stressed about this because they really only see the ones when the sun's not out. So there's a lot of other things that they haven't even seen. So they're finding a new way to kind of channel this stuff, especially since now they know that asteroids are aging a lot earlier by the sun than they thought. That's not great. Instead of millions of years, it's like thousands of years. So these things are, breaking down a lot quicker than they thought, which changes a lot of things, changes how they do the math on their trajectory and everything else. So, what are you going to do? Why is everybody so concerned with all this stuff? Well, maybe it's because there's some kind of planetary body that is almost not hypothetical anymore, because Batkin and Brown over at Caltech, these guys are big Planet X guys, Planet 9 guys. They've showed the math. There's something there. They've tried to explain it away, saying, it's little tiny black holes. They said, it's a cluster of asteroids. But it looks like the math is saying there is a huge body that's in this enormous elliptical orbit. And every once in a while it comes around and could explain a lot of things, like the flood, a lot of things. Maybe that's why China wants to put lasers on the moon. They say that they're doing this because they want to defend the Earth from asteroids. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. That's something else right there. Moon wars. That's what's going on. Moon wars. They're worried about this. NASA's actually worried about this. They think that they're going to take over the moon. Alemis, thank you so much. That was really nice of you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so they think that China's going to take over the moon. I'm not even joking. Like what just a couple of days ago they put this news out. Take a look at this. NASA says China wants to control the moon in shocking claim. China's done stuff that, they got to the dark side of the moon before. They did some stuff that's suspect, right? You want to talk about Transformers? Transformers, remember Dark Side of the Moon? Dark Side of the Moon. Transformers, Hoover Dam, the Transformer, then blew up in the movie. I don't know if you know anything about this. This is a great. I almost talked about it, but a lot of people talked about it in the movie. That's where they hid the Allspark. That's where the AI thing, right? That's where Megatron was. Transformer blowing up at the Hoover Dam Transformer movie. Very interesting stuff. NASA says China wants to control the moon. So there's this space race going on, but China's like, look, we're just trying to protect the world from killer asteroids. That's what they're doing. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that, look, my life is pretty good. I just get by. I get by with enough. I needed a car. I don't know if I told you this. I needed a car. The minivan of love, it died a while ago, and I don't really go places. I go shopping and I go to the gym now that I work from home, so I take care of everything at the house. I don't really need the car, so I've been borrowing Noah's car. I'll just go in the morning before he goes to work and all that stuff, and I'll just zip around, come back. But I needed a car, so I was going to buy a car this year, and was stressed about it. But then out of the blue, right? Because you know me, I'm not flashy. I don't care about this or that and the other thing. I'm very low key. When you're raised, I guess you could say when you're raised like poor, and you don't, and you have parents that are poor, or mother that's poor, and you're raised to think that it's really an indulgence. Why you got to drive around like a Rolls Royce? Why you got to drive around like a Mercedes? Why you got to drive around for years? I was very opposed, and it was foolishness, because if someone wants to buy a car, that has a great, cool name and and looks shiny, whatever, do whatever you want. I know that's not going to bring you joy ultimately, but hey, it's your life. You could do whatever you want. But I was very opposed to it. Like, I never wanted a good car. I always wanted to, it was always a used car, and it's like, well, we don't need it, right? We don't need it. It's kind of like, why you got to use five paper towels? Just one will do the job, right? Why don't we stop using paper towels altogether and we'll just wash the cloth? That's the mentality. But anyway, I wasn't even going to get a car because my wife knows me. It's been like almost a year I haven't had a car. And then my mother-in-law, she lives in Florida. She can't get in and out of the car anymore. Needs to store it somewhere. So now I have a car. And you want to know what it is? It's a BMW. So like now, like Dan's zipping around in a car that looks like she's so fancy. She's having a problem telling people that it's her car, though, even though her mom said, hey, I only need it every once in a while. So I got to tell you, God is good. God is good all day long. So don't stress out about this, Don't stress out about that at all, because, there's a secret ganja facility in Australia that's making the skies red, So I guess some people think it's bad. Some people think it's good. Who knows? I think it's all crazy. I think it's as crazy as the fact that I just did that show about zombies. And I can't tell you how many of you sent me the info about the soldiers over there. And the Bennu bird is like that bird, the crane. Hey, you, right? They said that the soldiers are like zombies. And you probably heard about this, the super soldiers. They're creating in these labs, right? That there are a lot of them over there. This is now, I guess, news. For a while, they said that it wasn't the case. Some people say that it's fake news, but really, what it is I guess they're so souped up. And if you look at even like at the bottom of this article, you'll see a report. These drugs that they're on neutralize the last traces of human consciousness and turn them into the most cruel and deadly monster. Now, I saw a video circulating, I don't know, at the beginning of this thing, and it looked like it was like an army thing where they're in the night vision goggles. They're looking down, and you see these soldiers and you see these this horde of people running at them like monsters. And they were passing that off as that's what's going on. I don't know if that's the case. That's why I'm not showing it to you. I find it hard to believe, but I do know that, people are becoming monstrous. You don't even have to be over there fighting a war. People are becoming monstrous in the here and now. Horrible things. They're doing horrible things. Why? Because, as I said months and months ago, chaos has been unleashed. The evil's been unleashed in the world, right? Doesn't mean it has to affect us. Just means that those that are without Christ, without the Spirit of God, or without faith, they're going to be subject to the ways of the world. That's why in Revelation it says, "Woe to those that are in the world, those that are in the earth, because the devil's come down to you, and he knows his time is short." And it seems to be that he's working overtime. He's working overtime. But the good news is that we shouldn't worry about this. Why? Because greater is he that is in me than he that is of the world. Now, what does that mean? what is greater is he that is in me than he that is of the world mean? And why is that something that's so near and dear to my heart? When I was young, 15 years old, I went to work at this deli. I was always working. I was pumping gas at like 11. You know, where we grew up, there was not, who cared? No one cared. If you knew somebody, and I was pumping gas at like 11, 12 years old, then I worked at a deli. I even had the keys to the deli. It was very cool to be going into high school with the keys of a deli. And Mersch, the guy who ran the deli, very cool guy. So, I brought people in all the time. I was allowed to, bring somebody in if you want, have a soda or two. It's okay, because I was a hard worker. But there was a chef that I worked with upstairs, and he was a Christian. He was like the first guy to open my eyes to more. It was almost like God placed me there, and then I couldn't really work downstairs because I was a little too young at the time. So they put me right up into the kitchen, and I got to just listen to him. And the one thing at the time, I was suffering from like these night terrors, and he told me, pray this prayer: greater is he that is in me than he that is of the world. Almost like it's a mantra. It'll protect you. But now I understand what that means. The me that's in this world, the Jacob that's in this world, not that powerful, right? Can't stop a meteor. But the one that's in me, Christ in me, is greater than the Jacob in the world, right? Or those that are in fear, and those that are hateful, and those that are in the world, because the devil's come down to those in the world. So, but I want to share this with you, and I want to just show you something that is going to really blow your mind. Let me pull this up for a second while I pull it up, and so I can also come on over here and thank all of you. Over 1,000 likes already. That's huge for me. Just so you know, that's huge for me. And it really does help like you wouldn't believe. Peter Rockford, thank you so much. Between Carlos, Zechariah Sitchin, Dr. August, there is enough evidence to prove. Yeah, there is. I mean, especially, I didn't know anything about it. If you don't know who Sitchin is, he's got a bunch of great books about this. All right, so I'm going to pull this up now. And let's see where we are. Come on over here. This is so good. This is a great study. This is why I like to get a bunch of people here now, because this is really the stuff that you got to pay attention to, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and rulers of darkness and wickedness. We're in a spiritual battle that is manifested in the natural. That's all there is to it. But listen to what John says in 1 John, okay? Because there are a lot of voices out there. I don't know. I was going to cover this, but I didn't. I don't know if you heard about the pastor in New York who was just robbed. They called him the bling bling pastor because he has his Rolls Royce and he has a lot of fancy jewelry and everything else. But really, he helped negotiate a criminal being turned in. So he did this like nice thing. I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about his church. I don't know anything about, he has a Rolls Royce, whatever. There was a time when I would have been like, oh, you're serving the Lord. A lot of people like to throw stones. They like to point out things, right? Like if you saw me driving my mother-in-law's car, right? You probably would be like, oh, look at Jacob. He's got a Beamer. And you didn't even know. God gave it to me. I didn't even ask for it. I didn't even want it. I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to pay for insurance either. How great is that? Oh, I'll tell you, God answers prayer. I wasn't even praying for a car, but he knows what we need before we need it. That's why we shouldn't be stressed. But yeah, this pastor in New York, in the middle of service, 3-armed gunmen came in, put a gun to his wife, put a gun to the kid. He had like an infant. And he went right to the ground. He said, okay. They stole all of the jewelry, stole all the chain, got away with like $400,000 worth of stuff. Sad, man. Really sad. But that's what's happening. And that's what's happening in New York, right? I mean, that's right down the street from me, New York City. I'm in Long Island. And crime is skyrocketing. Why? The devil knows his time is short. But is that the guy that we go to know about God? I don't know. You judge a tree by its fruit. I don't know. Driving a Rolls Royce doesn't mean that you're inherently evil. It just means that you like fancy, expensive things. People said that Jesus, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's a bit much, okay? I'm like, I drove the minivan of love for a long time, and I was okay with it. But I'm not like everybody. I grew up without stuff. So, to have anything is a blessing. But Jesus, they criticized him when Mary came in and broke the alabaster box and had that precious ointment and rubbed it all over his feet, and, with her hair and her tears. And I mean, they're like, we could have sold that, they said. We could have sold that. Who are you to get a foot massage? You need to be suffering all the time. And I get that. I don't know if, you can compare that to a Rolls Royce, but whatever. But you got to be careful today because you don't really know who to trust. And why? Well, because there are a lot of false people out there, a lot of evil liars, a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing. And this is what John is talking about. So let's get into this because it reveals something pretty fantastic, what you're going to see. Beloved, believe not every spirit. Now, what that really means, Jesus said, my words are spirit and they are truth. So when you see the word spirit, just think a thought because it also has to do with your head. Don't believe every thought, but test the thoughts. Test the thoughts, test the words of people to see whether or not they are of God. Because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Many. And the word try, it just simply means examine. Prove it. Scrutinize it. Recognize it as genuine after examining it. Are these words true? Is this someone you can trust? Are these thoughts in my head true? Are these thoughts something I can trust? Because many false prophets are gone out into the world. But here, this is how, this is how you know if it's the Spirit of God. Now, I tell people really clearly that I use love as like a litmus test. I've been saying that for years. Use love as a litmus test. It's like, you use love. A litmus test is like the acidity of stuff, right? I have to drink alkaline water, by the way. I bought alkaline water because I get such bad, I have Crohn's disease. I get such bad reflux. It burns my vocal cords. And it's hard to talk. It hurts to talk. That's why I don't talk to many people on the phone and stuff. It hurts to talk. Hurts to do this, especially afterwards. But the litmus test is love. If it doesn't glorify love, if it isn't rooted in love, then most likely it's not God. So that's kind of like one way that we can see if something is of God or not. But in John makes it really clear. He says, this is how we know the Spirit. Every spirit that confesses, that Jesus Christ is come. Now remember, we've talked about this word erchomai. Metaphorically, it means, so spiritually, it means to come into being, to arise, to come forth, to show itself, to find place or influence in your life, to become established, to become known, to come into or onto. You will follow this one. You get it? So when Jesus Christ is come in the flesh, which just means our flesh, right? Those that confess that Christ is risen in the flesh is coming into being, arising, showing forth, having a place of influence. Those that believe Christ in you is the hope of glory, in the flesh, in you, the Word became flesh. The Word becomes flesh. Christ is risen in you. You are the body of Christ. You are given the name of Christ. And you are to put on the mind of Christ. This is not about something outside of you coming again soon. Although Christ will come outside of you as well in others, in his body, literally as well. But you got to focus on you because it's all about you. Is Christ come in you? Those that believe this, they're of God. Now, every spirit that confesses that, no, Jesus does not come in the flesh, they're not of God. So if you're going to have somebody tell you that Christ is only coming as a literal man, 6 feet tall with a beard, with blue eyes, riding a white horse, as lightning, in the clouds, on the sea, on the sand, cracking a mountain in two. He comes a lot of different ways. If they're going to say that, then it's a possibility they really don't know the truth of God. This is the spirit of Antichrist, because that means that you're God. If you're not going to submit yourself to the Christ in you, if you're not going to submit yourself to God that's in you, as Paul said, it's no longer I that live. The life that I now live, I live in the faith of Christ, who died for me, so now I die, right? Christ died for us. We are resurrected with Christ, and we all also are crucified with Christ. So those that say that Christ is not coming in the flesh, they're the spirit of the Antichrist. Now that's an interesting concept, because religion teaches only one thing. They don't teach it about you. They put God outside of you. They cast you out of the garden, and then you suffer because you got to wait and wait and wait. They dangle that corn, that little corn in front of the donkey. They dangle it, the carrot in front of the horse to get it to move forward. It's coming soon, right? To a theater near you. Meanwhile, Jesus said very clearly, I am the resurrection and the life. Even if you're dead, if you hear me, you will rise again. That's pretty dope. That's pretty awesome. Now listen, you think I'm making up stories? Okay? You are of God. Of God. Of God. You come out from, by God, away from. Little children, overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is of the world. They're doing landscaping right next door to me, so this is perfect because we're about to end. I apologize for it. They are of the world, therefore they speak of the world, and the world hears them. But we are of God. He that knows God hears us. He that is not God hears us not. Hereby we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. How do we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error? Beloved, let us love one another, for God is love. And everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. He that loves not doesn't know God, for God is love. And if you want to take a look at what love is, go do a search. Now listen to this. If you can hear it over the the blowing that's going on right next to my house right now. In this was manifested the love of God towards us, because that God sent, what does that word sent mean? Ordered, to go to a place appointed, that's you, to allow one to depart, to send away, to dismiss. So God sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him, in him, with him, by the means of him, by reason of him, because Christ in us is the hope of glory. Herein is love, not that we loved God, but that God loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation of our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought to love one another. Okay? So in other words, that means you love people that don't love you. Okay? No man has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwells in us, and his love is perfected in us. Hereby we know the Spirit, that we dwell in him, and he dwells in us. Hereby we know we dwell in Christ, and Christ is in us. Greater is he that is in me than he that is of the world. And we've seen this, and we testify that the Father sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. Whoever confesses this is of God. And what does that mean? Whoever understands and whoever believes that Christ is come in the flesh is of God. And those that say, no, sorry, Christ doesn't want to be the ruler and Savior of your life, they're liars. He's coming to, that's an idol. That's an idol. If you don't believe God, no one's seen God at any time, but the Son reveals him. And I promise you, Christ will reveal all of this to you if you just take a time to just pray. Ask for the truth. Teach me the truth. No matter what the cost. That's what the t-shirt says. Do me a favor. Pray. Live for more. Have faith. Don't be scared. And thank you for coming to the show. So let me say goodbye to everybody before we get out of here. Thank you, Peter Rockford. That was so cool of you, man. I appreciate it. Cut up chatter again. All right, I'll write from Rainbows and Water. Okay, yeah. Send me, email me. My email and everything is in the description of the video. I love you all so much. Thank you for taking the time today to be with me. And I apologize for the crazy yard work that's going on. But you know what? Life doesn't happen exactly the way we want. It happens the way it's supposed to. So I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.